of the week. The Standard, Kenya's bold newspaper.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good Monday, nice weekend, nice past week. And
Oh,
we're looking forward for a new week.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, so.
And a little bird told me that you were having palpitations about a particular thing. We'll get into that in just a minute. Wakili Joshua Nyamori will join us in a short while as well, and we'll have this conversation amongst the both of you. But the thing that may have been giving you palpitations is our proverb from today.
Yes.
Dennis will let you know where that's from.
So today we are in the land of the pharaohs. We are in Egypt, right? Yeah. And one thing that stands out about Egypt in its ancient civilization and inventions is fact that if you're using toothpaste, it originated from Egypt. Mm-hmm. If you're using ink, it originated from Egypt. If you talk about paper, because of papyrus, that story of the Bible, it all originated from Egypt. But if you equally want to enjoy the pyramids as well, you just go to Egypt, because that technology only exists with them, only that it was never handed down to the rest of us to know how to do it. Many have tried to do it using glass in the rest of the world, but, you know, the original OG of that technology is Egypt. But the proverb, if you are mighty and powerful, then gain respect through knowledge and through the gentleness of your speech.
If you are mighty
and powerful, then gain respect through knowledge and through the gentleness of your speech.
One is that respect is not forced. Respect is not demanded. You can be very powerful, but it's only how you deal with people that they come to say that they respect you. Okay. You cannot, because you are up there, first of all, demand to be respected. When somebody says, please can you respect me, then already you're not respectable. Already you're not respectable. Already you have lost it.
Yeah.
You can be so powerful. Now, if you keep on reminding people how powerful you are, how mighty you are, how educated you are, how you have a PhD, how you are the youngest, the most brilliant in Africa, you know, president, already you are facing a crisis. Already you have identity crisis. You're no longer powerful. You're no longer respectable. I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, so the lesson is, please, just know how to attract power, respect, admiration. You know, how people will learn to follow you is because of just being simple.
Okay.
You just have to be simple. However mighty you are, just hide it. People will see you are. But the moment you begin talking about it and begin demanding, that is two-way. Actually, it's very applicable. Two-way. One, when you say, please respect me, then already there's something you have lost. Number two, when you begin saying, remember I'm so-and-so, I'm big, I'm the president, it doesn't come that way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't come that way.
It doesn't come that way.
If you have to ask for it, then there's definitely an issue.
Already there's a gap. Already there's a deficiency.
Yeah.
You may not recover from it.
Yeah. And it's interesting, and that you may not recover from it.
Yeah.
These proverbs are really interesting in terms of how we definitely look into them. And you know what they say, that lawyers are thinking on their feet really quickly.
Yep.
And in this case, when they sit down, then we can actually ask them to even think a little bit quicker. Wakili Joshua Nyamori is also here, and so perhaps he can tell us what he thinks about this proverb. Good morning, Wakili.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I said, how are you?
Salama sana.
Dr. Mbae.
You're very good.
Good morning.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah. So let's jump straight to the proverb for you, Wakili. If you are mighty and powerful, then gain respect through knowledge and through the gentleness of your speech. How would you interpret it?
Yeah. My view is that, a tiger does not need to, speak or show his gratitude every time. I mean, people would just notice that he's a tiger. And in my community, we actually expect the powerful to be humble. And so I think that's what
talks about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting Let's see how we can apply that proverb as we get into this conversation this morning, because it'll be an interesting one. Roadmap 2027. With each passing day, it gets closer and closer in terms of the decisions that are going to be made by Kenyans when it comes to who will rule the roost when it comes to the country's policies and or development. Let's get an opening from both of you here. We'll start with you, Dr. Mbae. What are your thoughts in terms of 2027? With the way things look like right now, how does it look in terms of what will happen the next general election, which essentially is going to carve the operations and path for the country moving forward?
From where we sit, we are now in April. There are many factors. What happens in these issues on political movements? There are factors that contribute to it. And one of the factors today, I can tell you this, one of the factors is the issue of this battle on fuel. It will begin shaping what's going to happen. These things happen like one thing leading to another, right? It's one thing leading to another. The other issue that's going to shape this is the voter registration. Definitely, you cannot go wrong on numbers, yeah, from where we sit right now. So what we see as, and number three, of course, is this issue of coalitions and all that. One of the major issues that's going to shape what's going to happen very soon is that the whole issue around the ODM also. The whole issue about ODM. President had no intention of to merge with ODM. He wanted to buy it. Like literally, not buying, swallow, like ANC. Swallow, kill, live, and be the only party. That is his dream all through. Actually, he was the architect of the initial Jubilee merger. He was the architect with the Uhuru Kenyatta. Like, let's get one mammoth party. Just like, these other parties, Museveni, where we learn from, these big parties, you swallow them up. So that's one issue. And of course, you can see Akina Junet coming to say, hey, wait a minute, this is what we had agreed. That's going to be very key. But let me come back quickly to the issue of fuel. Why it is important, I can tell you this, seated where we are. We do analysis every day, okay, from where we sit in the party. And I can tell you, if we let go this issue of fuel, if we let it go, we are doomed as a country. You see, you can play around and add 10 shillings. Nobody will feel the impact. But the moment you begin adding fuel with 30, 28 shillings, diesel 40, definitely is going to have a very big problem. And sitting where we are, the biggest problem we have, and please, this is very important. I've been thinking about this. Where is the source of all this? Having advised before about this, is a whole appetite with taxes. We have a government that simply loves, if you are paying taxes, they will wring your neck completely to finish you off. I will tell you this today. The finance bill of 2024 that introduced that VAT, the fuel levy, and all these kind of taxes. What you should do, if there's a problem like what has happened, if it is true there's something to do with the land, as a government, you come and cushion. That's what Uhuru Kenyatta did with COVID, right? You come and cushion. You can't come and tell us, because of war, you have to suffer. And then, I don't know who advises. Last time I checked, I don't know whether Nyamori has access to State House. But I don't know who advises these people, because then instead of providing a solution as a president, you come with another story of middle economies and low. Who does that? I mean, this information is there. We have searched for it the whole afternoon yesterday. Kenya still has the highest fuel prices, even if you go that way, which does not make sense anyway. Tanzania is also a middle-level economy. And the prices are cheaper. So what is the argument are you trying to advance? So my point is, in a nutshell, one of the issues that's going to determine how we are going to move going forward, you said we discuss issues, right? Is the issue of rising fuel prices. And I can tell you, Kenyans will not agree. If there's one thing we're not going to agree, is this issue of punitive measures. You come and talk about roads that you are increasing because you have 20,000 kilometers to maintain, 6,000 to do. So you are telling me I would rather die than now if you do for me a load and I'm dead because of economic stress, because I'm not able to do anything, how am I going to survive on that road? The thinking is too weird. And the problem is we have a system, we have a president who doesn't understand governance. Prato said, for you to become a leader, you need to be schooled. You needed to be schooled in some things about economics, governance, some things about life and administration and leadership. Somebody wakes up, and I can tell you today, I have worked with very senior people in government on petroleum issues. Nobody has told the president that. He sat down, Maybe so the guys that we refer to around him in State House told him, why don't you tell them about we are different from Uganda? Then maybe we see whether it can work. It is not something which the technical people in the ministry have told him. This issue, you are trying to run away from that. We cannot going to agree that, and I can tell you this. As a matter of fact, ourselves, we have given this government 7 days. Other people are not patient for 7 days. Tomorrow, they're in the streets because of the issue of fuel. Is this one thing that's going to influence going forward the issue of high cost of living out of this fuel, which we believe is not natural, it's artificial. Some people are waiting for the war of Iran to come and give it as an excuse to come and increase fuel. Do you know how much money people are making every month profit alone? 5 billion. We consume 500 million liters of fuel. Profit is per liter 70 shillings, 70 US dollars per liter. These are people who are just making money.
Who are these people that you talk about when you talk about the profit of 70 shillings per liter? Who's making this money? Before we come to
the companies that have been pickpocketed. And most of them, you see, remember the G2G. G2G was supposed to be those companies, that one have been discussed a lot, with NOC or KPC directly. Now, there are some companies which have been handpicked. There was nothing like apply and all that. They were handpicked. One of them controls 70% of the oil, which is Gulf Energy. I mean, the information is up there. So your guess is as good as mine. Why 70 is because maybe that's a preferred one, the blue-eyed company. They make 5 billion together. 5 billion. Why this greed? They simply reduce these taxes, remove the 7% on fuel levy, so that you cushion Kenyans. Let's go back. We no problem with adding 10 shillings, if it's a must, but this is just too much.
Yeah, Wakili, based off what Dr. He has said, then, is fuel one of the catalysts or one of the game changers as we proceed to 2027, or are there other issues that Kenyans want to hear as we approach 2027?
You know, I listened to Dr. Mbae, and I wonder what advice the opposition is working with, if we really have an opposition. My understanding is that an opposition is supposed to be an alternative idea, an alternative governing logic. What I hear from Dr. Mbae, if is the typical representation of what we have in the opposition, is that it is no different from the noise and the grievance and the rumors that we hear his colleagues shout on rooftops. The point is that this country is a country in transition. It's a developing country that has faced during its various phases of development various shocks, and that this government ran on a development logic of bottom-up approach, and the president reduced them into 6 pillars: in agriculture, in healthcare, in housing, in digital superhighway, and then that the president has subsequently in various speeches given his scorecard, and that the opposition cannot be able to counter that. They cannot speak to agriculture. They have no logic on how to provide housing. They have no logic on how to provide, healthcare, how to provide employment, how to build roads. All they do, if they are not talking ethnicity and going around the country trying to balkanize the country into, the mountain, the Kambas, the Kisis, and so on and so forth, while the president is trying to unite Kenyans, is trying to look for the next external shock that we might have. And, fuel pricing is an external shock. That is a reality. And then that is affecting the entire world. And that that definitely has impacted on the development program that we have. If the crisis continues worldwide, may still impact on our economy further. It is definitely causing a pain on the pockets of Kenyans. The question is that has the government done something? And while the impact would have been higher. The government has definitely cushioned and reduced the impact through, reduction of VAT initially to 13% and then to 8%, and then using the 6.5 billion from fuel levy to be able to ensure that what impacts most significantly on the dignity of the bottom part of the population, that is the kerosene, was not touched. But then the president is telling us, and I think that's what the president spoke about, especially on the noise that they have been making, that it could be cheaper to buy fuel in the neighboring countries. That Kenya is not Uganda. Infrastructure alone that we have to maintain. Kenya's road that is paved and tarmacked is equal to the number of these East African countries put together. The other thing is that we have roads that are going on. Another thing is that we constitutionalize a very heavy public service in terms of the both levels of government, the three arms of government, and the independent commissions that have to be sustained from our taxes because we decided to have them in place.
Okay.
So
can I ask
my
a
point,
question?
Yeah, just as you ask your question, my point is that we can do better. My point is that this government is, doing what it can. And my point is that as we go to 2027, Kenyans are not going to make a decision on which wave that anybody tries to ride on.
Okay.
Kenyans are going to make a decision on the alternative development, alternative governance logic, which the only candidate who has is President William Ruto and his ruling coalition.
According to Joshua Nyamori.
According to me.
So
yes.
What's the landed cost of fuel for April 2026? Do you know what that
I may not have the figures here with me.
I'll tell you.
Yes.
It's 106 shillings.
Exactly.
All right. So by the time that came to before the intervention of government, that means that the taxes and levies that were applied to that means it's yours. 106 shillings, you have it as Kenya. The fuel is here. That's why it's called a landed cost.
Yeah.
Now, the applicable levies and taxes on that fuel is what shot it to 202 shillings, 204 shillings, 206 shillings. So we're looking at 100% increase on the landed cost of fuel that is directly applicable to levies and taxes. In your opinion, again, do you think it's possible for that to be reduced consistently for the long term and still achieve development? Remembering that fuel and the sale of it in any country is actually low-hanging fruit. You can make a lot of money from it. Do you think it's possible that 100 shillings that we're looking at, which is purely levies and taxes, can actually be reduced over time?
I think it is incumbent upon the decision makers. It is incumbent upon our planners to continue refining our development logic and to continue refining our tax framework to ensure that it becomes more and more easy for Kenyans to pay it, and more affordable for Kenyans to pay it, and that will not happen through whims and through protests and through threats. It will happen through looking at the entire macroeconomic framework and making decisions to alter the framework based on what can work sustainably. And then the president just reduced VAT from 16% to 13%. That is significant. Okay. It will be important that if this war does not end, it will be important that both levels of government think about reduction of expenses to probably a percentage. You remember when the president came in, he reduced expenses of government by 20%. It might be important to do some of those.
Did they stay reduced? I just have to ask. Did those expenses stay reduced?
I'm talking about when the president came in the first budget. You remember that he made a decision to reduce costs by 20%.
Did they stay reduced?
The question is, we have had new budgets, okay? And then I'm talking about the first budget.
Okay, so the first time kind of thing, he did it, and then everything that happened after that, you can't substantiate.
No. What I'm saying is that subsequently we had budgets that had to align with the framework that the president had set.
So there was no reduction in expenses moving forward.
I think you are not getting the logic.
I get your point. What you said is that when he came in, there was a reduction of expense by 20% in that period. Did it happen again subsequently?
Subsequently, we have had budgets that have been refined to live up to, that.
So there was more expenditure.
No, to live up to that logic. Living up to that logic is that we need to continuously, reduce the taxation by expanding the tax base, okay? And as we expand the tax base, ensure that government is also as more efficient as possible. And you see, we have success stories in this. The success stories is that we moved collection of government revenue from 50 million to 950 million, simply by making one decision that refined the system. And that is ensuring that government collection was collected through one point, which is e-citizen. The government has ensured that expenses to the common man is reduced, one, through ensuring that roads are improved, and that is going on around the country, through ensuring that, the school fees is actually gazetted.
Please don't use the example of school fees, because I'll tell you right now, I'm sorry. One thing we won't do, Wakili, is that we cannot talk about the reduction of school fees when today, I'm not talking about yesterday,
yes.
I'm not talking about last week, I'm talking about today, the 20th of April, that their parents who are getting ready to send their children back to public school, I'm not talking about private school, with a 100% increase on second-term fees. This is a fact.
I have children in public schools.
Yes.
And I have children in public schools, and I know that fees is gazetted. I know as a parent, I have a duty not to allow the school administration to charge me more than has been gazetted. I know that the government has provided avenues for raising grievances. I know that there are situations in which cartels that involve certain parents have colluded with school administration to increase fees. I would call upon parents to take action on that. We cannot begrudge the president when, a cartel somewhere does action and that this is not raised to the government to take action on.
I want to bring in Dr. Mbae for 1 minute here,
yes.
because we're looking at an economic, we're looking at an economic issue here, and it's interesting because you cover economic planning for the party, but it's beyond that. In terms of the development of a nation, and I know there's this guy who's always sad, as I say, his name is Moody, and they're the ones who determine because we work in this global scale, they're the ones who determine where a country sits developmentally. And have said certain things will step in the way of Kenya progressing to a certain level. Now, in whose business, or what are actually some of the things that you should be looking for? What conversations must you be having today if we are talking about who wants to be in government tomorrow? Wakili has said that certain things have happened. There was a reduction in 2022 in terms of expenditure. Whether that has remained, maybe we're still in the dark on that. That there has been a gazettement for structured school fees. There have been road infrastructure that's being worked on. From your point of view, are these the things that should be focused on for the people who want to come into government?
I hear you, and I'll answer these two ways. Let me start from a broad way. Now, we cannot sit here 2 months to the final year of elections to come and give excuses on key policy issues facing Kenyans. Let me start from that. Now, when we do economy, we do political economy. The connection between economics and the economy planning and politics. That's what we call political economy. Let me say this. Now, we cannot come sit here and begin talking excuses about cartels in the education sector, in oil sector, in this sector, in housing sector, in all this, because you are a government. You cannot, and you tell parents to go take action. That's neither here nor there. Let me say this. You have a constituent to ask another question. Leader Monanchi have announced 3 days protest in June to coincide with the anniversary of the Gen Zs. You asked about issues that are going to cause things going forward. My advice to this government is this. Please, deal with the issue of fuel before it connects with June, and deal with it very well. Because I can tell you, where we will not be able to make it now, this month of April, May, I can tell you, the issue of fuel will be one of the biggest issues running this country going forward. And if I were the people who actually reason, whether he reasons to them, kindly don't play politics with this. Let me go very quickly. Actually, the landed cost that you have mentioned is even one of the highest. Because what constitutes, we should be discussing, what constitutes this landed price? Why that price? That's the question we're asking. One is the issue of the purchase cost of the fuel, right? Mm-hmm. Number 2, the freight cost. Number 3, of course, the insurance and premium, the profit I've just mentioned. So what we need to do, we need to review the petroleum pricing regulations. That is of 2023. So that we are able to manage that. We agree at what price should fuel land in Mombasa. But quickly, do you know the number of taxes now coming to where it was good so that you can take people through nicely? Listen to this. VAT. It was 16, now 8%, okay? Give it to it. Excess duty. On top of that 106 now, which is already high. Now go to road maintenance levy, the one you have been told, about 25 shillings. Petroleum development levy, used for price stabilization, the one we are being told. Petroleum regulation levy again. Anti-adulteration levy, import declaration fee, and railway development levy. On one Kenyan. All what we are saying is this greed and appetite is too much. Let me ask you. So you are saying you are doing 20,000 kilometers of roads. You are saying you are doing 6,000, maintaining 20,000 and doing 6,000. One day we asked the ministry, give us a list of these roads. Where are they? Do you know where those roads are? If you are told today as a journalist, the 6,000 roads being done, where are they? I want to give an example. There's a road in Gilgil called Motaita, Kongasis, Jogo, Munanda, and Trangitano. It was been launched 3 times by the president. 3 times. It was supposed to be among the 6,000. Never been done. There are so many roads which are not being done today, but you're told they are being done. But let me finish on sharing with you this. Yesterday, when the president talked about middle economy and the level and high economy and all that, so we wanted to know, okay, first of all, give it to him. So what are these economies? Let me tell you quickly in 1 minute. Among the lower middle economy countries, they are about that one in Africa. 8 are upper middle, and the rest are lower. Now listen to this. Angola is lower middle economy. Angola petrol is right now retaining at 42. Egypt 59, Tunisia 113, Nigeria 116, Benin 160, Zambia 168, Namibia 173, Guinea 176, Ghana 184, going all the way. Kenya is one of the highest, number 3 highest in that category. My question is, why do you want to compare ourselves with countries like Zimbabwe? Like now, Zimbabwe, we are now happy that Zimbabwe has a higher fuel or petrol than Kenya. Really? Countries like Morocco and Senegal. Really? We are one of the biggest economies in this region. We should be able to be competitive. We should be able to be worried. But let me give you this summary. I can tell you where is it. My own analysis is this. I think the president has given up on this country. He has given up on this country.
What does that mean?
Well, yeah. Because you cannot be the father and you want to see the kids dying. Literally, you don't care. You can't care. Until now, he was told by somebody I will not mention here that actually go and say borders will not be affected because they'll be taking kerosene and the price of kerosene has not changed. It's like he doesn't care, and so he's just letting go. He just wants money. How do you get money? Tax more. Don't care about all these kind of things. So because he has given up. I wouldn't be a father, and I'm happy to see my kids suffer. It cannot. Now we are appealing to emotions. We are appealing to logic. and morality of the president. It cannot work. You cannot come tell us Kenyans at a point where everybody is suffering that you are pushing to them another 28 shillings on petrol and 40 on diesel. That means the whole economy, half of it is going to collapse. That one I can tell you. Now, let me tell you what happened. This measure of reducing 9 shillings, what happened? The Matatu said no. As we had already increased the fare, 10 shillings is negligible. It doesn't make sense. We are in a situation where we have a president who doesn't simply care. And I can tell you, we had given this president enough time to go around until next year. We remove him through the ballot. But the question is, are Kenyans going to be that patient when literally somebody is sneezing out the life out of you? That's the question we're asking today. And I can tell you, let me stop by saying, please, Nyamori, because you are an apologist for this government, when you go back, even if it's a message or traveling there or moving to the people who have been left behind by the president as you go to Italy, please, let him not test the patience of Kenyans. Because people are angry. That's what I can tell you. Everybody is angry.
I mean, Wakili, many Kenyans today are looking at the petroleum situation in the country. And one thing that is out there and is clear is that Kenya, the government of Kenya is heavily taxing fuel, the reason why it is where it is, whichever way you want to look at it. And many say, even as we talk about petroleum development levy, we want to talk about road maintenance levy, Kenyans are asking the question, where is the value for money? Because you just have to drive across Nairobi today to look at how roads are dilapidated in Nairobi. And you ask yourself, where is this road maintenance levy going to if we are seeing potholes on our streets? One is asking the question again, Wakili, if we are comparing ourselves as a middle income level, and you have to look at our peers in terms of fuel, if fuel is cheaper in Egypt, a middle income with a greater economy than Kenya, you talk about Nigeria, fuel is cheaper in Nigeria. You go to other middle-level countries with better economy than Kenya, and fuel is cheaper in that country. So when even the president himself is giving that excuse or is giving that explanation that we must compare ourselves with our peers, still Kenya comes up top. Why is it that these lower-hanging fruits, that is the driver of economy, is where the government is going in? Do they even mean what they say when they talk about we will address cost of living and inflation if all they do is tax more the driver of economy?
Aseto, one, as I answer your question, I would want to, remind Dr. Mbae that they need to, get to their situation room and do more thinking, that they will not, establish a government in 2027 through manufacturing, outrage and grievance. It needs to govern a country requires more. I will still insist that Dr. Mbae needs to come to the public platform with alternative logic. The other thing I would want us to take note of as we discuss this is that there are road construction going on across the country, even today, and that even in Nairobi. Part of the reason why I delay a little is because I had to maneuver through a road construction site.
Where?
Next to Serena. Yeah, and this has been rolled out across the country. The government, the president just committed 80 billion shillings to Nairobi County to improve infrastructure in Nairobi to respond to Nairobi's needs. The other thing that we need to take into consideration is that Kenya is the largest non-mineral economy in Africa. The economies you've talked about, Egypt and Nigeria, and oil-producing countries. And even though Nigeria is an oil-producing country, I want you to look at the data that is available in the public purview. Fuel has gone up in Nigeria by between 50 to 70%, higher than the percentage increase in this country. My point is that as we move, going back to the topic of the day, as we move to 2027, Kenyans are definitely going through a painful process. But then this government is offering, a logic that will, in the long run, be able to...
Is the government the reason why Kenyans are going through a painful process today in terms of cost of living as a result of taxes that have been levied on them?
Not really. The challenge is that we have previously had leadership that have failed us. One of the leaders that this, Dr. Mbae and his team in the opposition keep celebrating is Uhuru Kenyatta. Lied to Kenyans, and for me, that's the issue. That this president becomes frank to Kenyans and tells Kenyans what is happening. Lied to Kenyans that he gave us a subsidy.
But William Ruto was deputy president.
Just listen to me. Just listen to me. Let's not get on the rhetoric.
He was the deputy president.
Yes,
number
but
two
you
to the
know
president.
that in
and
2022,
at the time when Uhuru Kenyatta is accused of lying, William Ruto, who is the truthful master, would have called him out.
Could you allow me to then finish the point before you then counter it? The point is that as of 2022. In reality, William Ruto was not part of government. He was not, Uhuru Kenyatta was governing without William Ruto. And that Uhuru Kenyatta fraudulently told Kenyans that he had reduced the cost of fuel by giving us, subsidies. In reality, those subsidies were never paid. They were just piled. So this government had to pay for those subsidies. So as you talk about, we need to know that Uhuru Kenyatta, piled up certain debts that this government has to pay. The Auditor General flagged out 500 billion shillings worth of Eurobond that never hit the Kenyan economy, so basically. We need to appreciate, but part of the problems that this government is dealing with, which has in reality made governing expensive and life painful, is the fraudulent past that we have dealt with, and that the fraudulent part that Kenyans must not allow us to go back to. That when we come to 2027, Kenyan will in reality look at the development track record of this government, the clarity of the path that the president is offering, the unity and national outlook, and the diversity of the development programs, as opposed to what the opposition wants to take us back to, that is ethnicity, rhetoric, lying to Kenyans and promising heaven and delivering nothing, and thinking that they could then govern through protest. Protest don't govern. Protest, as we know, will just increase the pain, and that unfortunately for the opposition, what they would wait for is the next pain point, the next difficult moment for Kenyans, rather than offering Kenyans how they can improve and give an alternative to what President William Ruto is giving. Basically, what I'm trying to say as I finish is that this government will continue to have the only plan that can save this country from crisis, as opposed to the opposition that will continue making noise. We'll continue wishing that there is another issue every other week that they can mobilize Kenyans to protest, but they will offer no alternative.
I think you're not communicating. Let me just summarize this, please. Wakili has spent all his time talking about us, alternative logic and all that. Let me be very clear for the purpose of our viewer. I want us to be very, very simple. Number one, he's talking about how we want to take government, how we are going to do it. One thing we are going to do, I said, is to declare that we don't want greed and corruption going forward. Where we are as a country is because there are some people who, when they came to power, their first motive was to primitive accumulation of wealth, was to make money by whatever means possible. That is why we are in all the problems we have today. That's a summary. From education, from health, from everything, state capture, private interest in public programs. That's number one. So I can tell you this, once we take government next year, people will sit down and they all be like Kibaki, like you don't need to go, being in everywhere. And then you're using public programs. If you want to show us how you can make money, go and establish your private companies and import stuff and all that, do any other business. Now, let me tell you, we tend to say, he's asking many times, how do you go about it? Amori, this is what we are saying. This is what Kenyans are saying. we have a landed cost, which is already contentious, of 106, which is already high. But be it the way it is, we have like 8 levies. Simply go remove the levies in view of the hard economic times Kenyans are passing through. I have read to you VAT, excise, road maintenance, petroleum migration levy, import declaration fee, reduce there at least for this time in the intervening period. And I've done my calculations. We are demanding at least with a further 20 shillings on petrol. At least. This cost has to come down with another 20 shillings because you must cushion Kenyans are crying. So that's number one. And we are saying this. Grudgingly, they reduce the VAT to 8. Make it 0. That VAT stuff. And remove the fuel levy. At least for now. That's what we are demanding. You said our ideas, so everything we don't have ideas. That's what we are demanding. Very straight on. Remove the fuel levy. Don't come and tell us you are doing for us roads which nobody can see. Don't come and tell us that putting 80 billion to Nairobi is an achievement of the president. He's not the governor of Nairobi. This is kind of wrapped logic that we have to fight every day. Don't come and tell us that now, already you have sent, did I hear tippers or garbage collectors? Really? As a president of the Republic of Kenya? You're coming to tell us, was your aim to take over Nairobi? These are kind of wrapped logics. Now let me tell you another example. Yesterday, the president's line was in Italy, or maybe in Lut. Do you know 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago, the president left for Italy. And the same objective was Amalewel, Kimwaleo, Aror, and Itare in my home county. The same statement by Hussein was done. When he came back, it's 2 years later. Nothing. Ask me. Because I visit Itare once in a while when I'm going to do my rounds. So what are you telling us about infrastructure? Nothing. Kenyans don't believe you. You're not believable. People know that all this money is ending up in people's pockets through some cartels collusion with those oil importers. That's why Kenyans are tired. Whatever this government does or tells people, there is no trustability. It is gone, it's over. So I'm just saying this in a nutshell. And I give a very good example because, I don't want to come and say, go tomorrow and increase. The petroleum pricing regulations, 2023, it needs to be amended so that we are very clear on the landed cost. I'm giving an example. The other day, 1.5 hours, VAT was appealed. Can they go back to Parliament? Let them review this. We manage the landed cost. Then let us go manage another to reduce the fuel with another 20 shillings. We have given examples. Make VAT 0 and fuel levy. In the intervening period, we cannot be having problems and people are still making money from us. So finally, let me tell you, you cannot buy Kenyans. We cannot give you power. You go make money, think you're going to buy us during next year's election. It's going to be very dangerous.
But Dr. One would equally ask the question, as even the opposition is pushing back and saying you form government and you will reduce all these things. One DCP party leader, Rigathi Gachagua, was deputy president at a time when immediately government was formed. He was part and parcel of a government that increased the fuel taxes from 8 to 16%.
Yes.
Today, he's out there and saying he gets in, he will change that. Do Kenyans trust that you are the solution in the light that you've been there, you've been tried, you've been tested and failed at the very same thing? As we talk about 2027, these are questions Kenyans are asking because rightfully so, even government is saying you give no alternative to the problems that are there. You'd argue you're not in government, but everybody who is in united opposition has been there, tried and tested. What makes you think you are the solution?
No, I was in government. I was in myself. I don't talk. That's why I like being in places so that I talk something that I know. Let me tell you. When we go to government, please take it from me now. We said, please do taxation regime the way Kibaki did. Let there be a good feel factor of paying taxes. Remember, from 200 billion that Moi was correcting, it shot to 800 billion. Did you see any protest? Do you know what happened? There was just a good feel factor that we need to support our government. But immediately, if you remember, you could see free primary education. So guys were like, wow. So if I pay tax, there will be direct government programs that I can identify with. This thing goes like this. So why America people actually look forward? Because they know they will take you to court as government if you don't collect garbage, right? So what happened? We had proposed, please don't, but we discovered, this is very important, that the whole calibration of the president was tax more. That's why, how do you allow yourself, as a popular government, to allow protest within 1 year? How? Which makes, can I ask you something? That was a bad mistake. Now, let me tell you, what we do in government, including the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, when he was a deputy, is to advise. He was a principal advisor to the president. Now, himself, this is what he did, because I know I'm privy, because I used to work at those levels in government. I remember us giving a brief. I remember we were in a meeting where actually some of us, as advisors, you advise your principal, right? We give that advice. Please stop this issue of overtaxation. It will kill this country. I can tell you. One of the things that will take Ruto home very early in the morning next year. One of them is the issue of overtaxation of Kenyans. Look at the housing levy. Look at NSSF. Look at SHA. Okay? Look at all these levies now, here. That is one thing that will take, by the way, talking about factors that will contribute to Ruto going home, is because instead of increasing the tax, come on, guy, the base, let everybody pay 20 shillings, 10 shillings. And you're going to make this country, you can make 5 trillion rather. Right now we are collecting about 2 point something. You can make it to 3 or to 4 because there is a lot of money. But people, one, have to trust that what you're going to do with the money. Number one, yes. The Rigathi Gachagua was there. We were there. We advised this government. Let me tell you, the second one. We never learned by 2024. The most painful thing was 2023 rather. Where, listen to this. Somebody went to TV to say that there will be a 5% increase on VAT on bread because Kenyans have diabetes. We need to save Kenyans from diabetes. That's when I knew, because I remember I was there. That's when I knew we are done. Actually, no, wait a minute. That's when I knew in my heart we are done, and I began planning my exit. I knew we are finished completely. So we advised. But there's one man, the CEO of this country. If his configuration of governance is not there, how can you help him?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Again, it is important that Dr. Mbae, be candid and know that they didn't plan their exits. They were actually kicked out of government for non-performance, for,
that happens? People are kicked out? Okay.
Not being living. We went through an impeachment, and we know that the entire group left because of that. Now, my point is this, that Dr. Mbae cannot... Elections are not won and governments are not run through just talking about taxation. That when we go to 2027, Kenyans are going to make a decision between a government that is delivering, development projects across the road. And I've talked about them. That, we enhance our production in agriculture, that road networks are going on around the country. This is, Dr. Mbae advises his presidential candidate to go out in public and say that Rironi Mau Summit Road is not happening. But Kenyans drive along that road.
Don't mention don't give another example. Please don't. Please, don't mess up.
Yeah.
That's another scandal in the waiting. Please don't talk about
that. Infrastructure is going on around the country, that we have, this government has employed the largest number of teachers ever employed in this country, 100,000, compared to 2,000, 3,000.
Only 56,000.
Of which 46,000?
No, that's not employment.
You cannot.
Facts, man.
I'm sorry.
You need to allow me to.
No, not the video. Don't. Facts,
we
please.
only have 2 minutes.
Facts, please.
Allow me to finish.
Only 56,000 teachers are employed, please. The others are not employed.
Dr. Mbae,
Carry on.
This is not.
Okay, let's. You go on.
Rally. Yeah, and so they are going to make decision. Compare that to the fact that through affordable housing program, President William Ruto is creating employment right now for almost 640,000. He's committed that by the end of the year it will be 1 million bob and a million Kenyans. But apart from that, being able to dignify those who have been living in very difficult situations, and through that ensuring that money circulates at the local ground. We will compare this with the opposition that does nothing but speaks ethnicity, does nothing but shouts about protest, does nothing but divide this country. My hunch is that Kenyans will choose President William Ruto for another 5 years.
I have to ask you a question again because our time is going. The thing is that the people in government are responsible for running the country. The opposition can speak The alternate can speak, but the people who are responsible for doing the job are the people in government. Now, my question is, do you really think that when people are standing in front of the ballot and casting a vote come the second Tuesday of August 2027, that they're going to be making a decision, individual to individual, based on the things that you've said?
Definitely, Kenyans are going to make a decision about whether their life is being improved as compared to somebody who is asking them to think as Kikuyus, to think as Kisis, to think as Luos, and to think as Kambas, and just inviting them to go out to the road to riot, because that's basically what Dr. Mbae is doing. As Kenyans will go there, they will know that more Kenyans will be having housing. They will know that more Kenyans will be involved in the economy through the micro and small enterprises that the president has initiated. We'll know that, more children have access to more teachers, and that there are more, as at now, we have more classrooms, and more classrooms that are being built, and that we have more roads being built, and we have more, more health facilities and more better health services.
Okay.
Those are the things
you brought that
Kenyans
in at
will make a decision on. Kenyans are not going to decide on tribalism.
That you brought that in at that last hour, that we were then not, unfortunately, at that last minute, that we're not able to now give some facts on some of those things. So it's necessary for we have this conversation further on. But we want to thank you both, gentlemen, for being here this morning. It was necessary for us to do. Roadmap 2027 already looks interesting. Wakili Joshua Nyamori and Dr. Mbae, asante sana for joining us this morning. Good morning, folks. 8 a.m.
Thank you.
This is the Situation Room, the only way